Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Our praises to
Yahweh,
Yahweh, Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Ruach
giving double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us these truths. And shout out to the sincere elect out there. Keep on pushing, keep on striving, keep on fighting. We're almost out of this bitch by the looks of things. So we're going to go in with the precepts to get the ball rolling. Let's start with Psalms 140 from the top.
Psalms 140, verse 1. It says to the chief musician, a psalm of David, "Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man, preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their hearts."
Right, so deliver, that's what we want, man. We're asking for deliverance, and it's in a way of a prayer by King David, in the form of a prayer, the Psalms, affirmations, prayers. It's like I can't even. I heard the birds doing what they was doing, and I said, let me ignore it. But they don't. It's like they always want to be acknowledged. But it's a prayer, man, and we put up them kind of prayers, in the Hebrew as well, in the Lakman Kadash, the Lord's Prayer, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kadash, Hayah, Shamkar. And when I first came in the truth, I knew it from top to bottom. And every now and then we've got to refresh ourselves. That's the Lord's Prayer. Boy, man, I don't know, is it me that I tune in more into the spirit when I'm doing videos, or did they just get louder? Anyway, so the devil, who is the devil? The devil, and the title of this video is The Devil Be Showing His Horns, man. A couple of articles to touch on. But the scripture, King David was well aware of these devils. Let's carry on reading.
Yep, Psalms 140, verse 2. Which imagine mischief in their hearts.
Yeah, another precept that's in the back of my mind. They imagine mischief. Anytime I read this, precept comes to my mind. Micah chapter 2 from the top. Let's read that.
Micah 2 from the top. It says Micah 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands.
Yeah. Woe means destruction. And that's just the devil all over. And this can't be denied. We keep hearing about this over in America, over in Babylon, what they're talking about right now, which is just blatant. The news cannot be refuted. First of all, Trump, what he said, I just made a little snapshot of it. Trump tells hundreds of generals in the military should be used to fight the enemy within. That's what he's saying. You've got the likes of Pete Hegseth, another one, Stephen Miller, and this was in they got a memorial. A memorial, they had it a couple of weeks ago for, I call him Kellogg's Cornflakes. Clark. I'm trying to speak in code.
Oh, come on.
Something Clark, but they had a memorial for him. You know what happened with this guy?
Kellogg's
Cornflakes. Clark. Kirk, that's the one. And so I was watching Elder, linebacking of Elder Yoshuamba over there, the head of the head of the Dallas camp, Elder Yoshuamba. We're going in, we've done a couple of videos on it as far as what they're doing, and I was also watching a buzzword that was put out, the memorial of Kirk. To the best of our ability, we're going to speak in code. And I've made it known that I'm calling him. Everybody's got their own way of speaking in code. I'm calling him Kellogg's Cornflakes, right? So, is it a memorial or is it a mobilizing? That word, I heard that buzzword, and it kind of stayed with me, right? When in the memorial, there's a lot of code speaking, and what he said, Charlie Kirk. I just said it. What's this guy? Right? Trump tells hundreds of generals the military should be used to fight enemy within. right? And here's one of the generals, right? Because there was a lot in the actual memorial, right? A lot. Pete Hegseth was saying, we don't want no more. You have to shave your beard, right? There's going to be no more transformers.
Oh yeah.
Women have to reach the standards of the same as standards of men. So they ask for equality. Now that's what they're getting. Right? And so there's a lot of in-house fighting that's taking place. Right? And the scripture, another scripture that comes to mind. We can come back to all the other ones that we mentioned earlier. So, is it Isaiah 19? Right? So I'm going to read some of this. Right? You got it? All right. Let the scripture speak.
Based on Donald Trump as well, and his declaration, Esau's trying to clean things up right now, man. All that bullshit that he's created, he's regretting it.
Oh yeah, that's the they're not happy with the woke movement.
Yes.
Lord willing, we can get into some of that. And if we can't finish off in this video, because at the time it is now, things are starting to speak. Time is getting darker earlier. We can, Lord willing, when we meet up again, we can finish off.
So this is Isaiah 19:4, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, save the Lord Yahweh of hosts.
Right. Scripture, another scripture that comes to mind, but we're going to take it one at a time. Carry on reading that one. I want to find it.
It says, and the water shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up. I'll read the key part, which is verse 4 again. Isaiah 19 and verse 4, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord. Of course, that's aka Nero, in the reincarnation. That's Donald Trump again.
Right.
And it says it,
and his actions speak. Yeah.
Even when you look at his portrait as well on Google, when you search up Nero, he actually kind of looks like Donald Trump as well. Slight modifications, but that facial structure is there. So it says, into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord. Says the Lord Yahweh of hosts. So of course that fierce king is going to be, that fierceness is going to be seen by his decrees as well. Of course, all these executive orders and deportations, using ICE, immigrations and customs.
Yeah, man. We there's a lot of articles on that. Once again, there's so much going on. We're going to have to scratch the surface for this time around.
Got
bring out as much scriptures to back up the point as possible. Yeah. You got some?
Yeah, it says just a little article based on the point. It says US cities should be military training grounds, Trump tells generals. And it says this was published around 30th September 2025 by the BBC. It says US President Donald Trump has said he wants to use American cities as training grounds for the military. In an unusual address to hundreds of military leaders assembled from across the world, Trump described civil disturbances as the enemy from within.
Right, and we know who they're talking about. We know it's everybody's inclusive. They make a point of the left and the right, right? And Trump said himself, he said, the right is stronger than the left. So when they talk about the left, who are they talking about? Now when you hear about the left, primarily they're talking about the
Republicans.
Yeah, that's what they allude to. But in code, it's really the so-called YNs, the Transformers, the colourful people. You understand that? The alphabet people, and we're all lumped in with that. At once upon a time, it was just like you've got the Democrats and the Republicans, but they have a cold way of speaking.
It says some more. It says, skipping on. It says.
To the point, is there a point where it says that the Egyptians fighting against the Egyptians?
Yeah, I'll read that as well. I'll read it first. This is Isaiah 19 and verse 2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against
That's
kingdom.
happening now. Elder Gabar, Elder Apostle Aramla, Elder Apostle Tahar. Just keep on, as they say, it's like a broken record. But it's what it is. And Jacob's trouble is not here on the way, it's here now. Right? So all the prophecies that we've been speaking about is going to come to pass. The coin of the year, when the new year came in, the hope, there's destruction and the hopeful year of salvation for the elect, and destruction and judgment upon the wicked. we're seeing it now.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why we're prisoners of hope.
Yeah. It says in the article, it says Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also spoke declaring an end to woke culture
Yep.
at the Pentagon and announcing new male level physical fitness standards for military officials. So of course that crackdown is going to happen very severely, over there in America. They don't want any hindrances to their agenda as well. So when the scriptures talk about Egyptian against Egyptian, it's really talking about Babylonia against Babylonia, which means American versus American. Yes, yeah.
Now, I was watching a documentary. Just sometimes the spirit just have you watch a documentary, and I'm not really into the TV as such. But I was watching this documentary, and I had it on, I'm into the internet, and I had the thing on mute, the TV on mute, and I just looked at it, and I said, let me just turn it. What are they talking about? It seems like something going on there. And over in America, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, right? He was the governor when he was voting to be put in around 2022. Right? And his thing when he came in, his buzzword, his campaign was, "We're going to come against the woke people." 2022. I said, "Oh, that seems to be on time." What he did, he had a lot of these libraries get rid of their so-called woke books, and he was interviewing, the school, the so-called black people at school, saying how did they feel, and they said, I actually was enjoying going to the library and getting certain books about slavery and learning about all the different types of cultures and the hair. And the woman said, now this I thought as though they've stripped me of my sense of self. These are the school, the schoolgoers, the colleges and all of that. And this was 2022. He's known for it. When you pull up Ron DeSantis, awoke, or what he said about the awoke people in Florida, and a lot of as it says there, Egyptians be fighting against the Egyptians. The librarians, a lot of them are so-called white people. And when this woman gave her testimony, she said she felt as if it was unjust and unfair, and she spoke up, against the board and in the what they call it, in the town halls. If you ever seen, sometimes they have town halls where you can go in and stand and give your 2 cents. And they're coming forward and giving, and they have to listen and make a judgment, is it fair or not. But anyway, she done her 2 cents, and she said ever since she said her piece in the town hall, giving a reasoning or a case to the board, she said that about a day later or 2 days later she was sacked. And she said she was sacked just like that, and they're doing it so it's like cold. So as we're saying that no mercy whatsoever. So this is in-house. So that land of what we're talking about, Egyptians, read it again.
So Isaiah 19 and verse 2, it says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." And of course, as Trump also clamps down, on all this woke bullshit that's going on right now, that will also cause a sense of civil war as well, because really, it's ideology against ideology. The way one person thinks against another way of thinking as well, and they're gonna crash heads, over there, and that's gonna provoke that civil war, of which Trump is sending generals for at this current moment.
Yeah, I've just pulled it up, the snapshot of it. Ronald DeSantis is leading Florida to freedom, one ban at a time. Right? This is talking about the librarians. So this is what the women are put, the librarians, or what they call the media specialists, are trying to fight up to this very day. They're going to court and they're having a lot of in-house fighting. American complied to a list of 176 books that were removed from the classrooms in Duval Country, Florida. Right, so this is ongoing at the moment, and since then is much more. But what they're saying is that it's affecting the young children, having a sense of self, and they put it in a way where they're saying they're learning about things they they don't need to learn about, and they're putting up little white boys, right? As a matter of fact, let me show you.
Quick one as well.
Right. Yeah, bring out.
Just a supporting article as well, released by the BBC again, 2024, around August ending. It says here, in terms of the main point of this guy called, what's his name?
So what we're talking about is Jacob's trouble. Making mention of a lot of the things that our elder, Apostle Babar, said certain things that we need to be talking about. We're actually on that point throughout this video anyway, mainly about Jacob's trouble, draconian laws, and this is what's happening now, right before our very eyes.
So the governor of Florida, it says here, PEN America has said that the majority of the books removed are the ones that talk about alphabet identities.
Right.
And
really they're not concerned about that. Really the main thing, I'll let you go on.
So it says that includes characters of color and that talk about race and racism, that include depictions of sexual experiences in the broadest interpretation of understanding.
He doesn't care about that. The E's them, right? Because they're out of the temple, profane people. So they don't really care about all the other issues. What they really care about is Jake getting a sense of self. Obviously, they know that the work is gone out, and what they see, the prophets are out there on the highways and the byways pushing this truth, and we've got a precept to back that one up. Hold, have you got something? Hold Revelations chapters 12. Is it 12? Yeah, no. Revelation chapters 13 and 11 and 12.
Revelation 13 and 11 to 12.
Yeah.
13. This is Revelation 13, verse 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb.
That's right.
And he spake as a dragon."
Yeah, that goes into, because back in the days of the ancients, they had the patricians and the Palladians. Over that was in Rome. The ancient Romans. So that was their today you got the left and the right, which are the Republicans and the Democrats. Over here you got the Labour Party and the Conservative, which they're all playing the same game, politics, right? So carry on.
Two parts of the same coin.
Yeah.
So Revelation 11 and verse 12, it says, "And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither, and they ascended up to heaven."
Read 11 again, brother.
Right. Revelation 11 and verse 11. It says that after... Wait, hold on. Oh, wait. It's a lot. Wrong chapter. I was holding another precept, that's what I got. So this is Revelation 13, verse 11 again. "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb."
And that's where the East today, the modern day Romans, get their power from, the beast, right? The ancient Romans up to this very day, which are revived again. They've been given another goal, right? They've been given breath. Yeah, carry on.
It says, "And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon."
And that's what we're hearing right now, right? Well, Trump, he ain't holding back. He's never been known to have a filter. And at first, he was when they want the vote in the campaign, we're going to do this, we're going to change this, we're going to lower the taxes, right? And what happened? All the different types of there's not repercussions. When he came in, what did he do? He brought in all those. A lot of people with tariffs, right? Extended the tariffs. A lot of people lost their jobs. Executive orders, the WADA. A lot of people were laid off. Mostly Jakes, right? Even when you look into it, the more you look into it, you realize the people that were sacked, like the former Minister of Defense was a Jake. A lot of their real close army members, high officials were Jakes. The more you look into it, so he spoke as a lamb. Right, but the scriptures say what? Carry on.
It says, "And he spake as a dragon."
Right. He spoke as, hold on. He had two horns like a lamb. There you go. So he appears as a lamb. he appears as he's going to make things are going to change for the better. But how did he speak?
Yeah, it says, and he spake as a dragon.
Right, that's how he spoke. When you get into that, there was an ancient character called Draco, right? Draco, and when you get into it, it's draconian, right? It says, and dragon goes into the Athenian lawgiver, a notorious figure in the Greek history, Draco. Yeah, he was known for issuing very harsh laws, right? He was known for issuing very harsh laws, and gave us and it goes into draconian, the word draconian, which is harsh, fierce, like dragon. So that's what we're seeing now. They're coming out and just telling you straight, point blank, right? We're going to get into some of the, the little things that little things, big things really, which is going to lead into what we're talking about, the scriptures that we're going to bring out.
Yeah, just a quick one on the word Draco. It says Draco refers to a Greek and Latin word meaning dragon or serpent. So that's really the key part, and that dragon or serpent is really referring to Esau, Eden, especially when you get back to Genesis 3. Referring to the serpent that deceived Eve. That was Esau and his philosophy. Yeah, it's the same thing. He's corrupting Jake in this modern era too. But getting to the point. So verse 12, Revelation 13 and 12, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Yeah, that's that. They get their power from the dragon. That original serpent, as it talks about it also in Revelation chapters 12. It goes into that. So they've been revived, right? That stroke has revived them, and that's where they get their power from. And that guy, when you go into the speech, right? I've done a little bit of a fact checking on the speech, right? It took place September 2020, September 2021, the memorial service for conservative activists. I want to say the code. Kellogg's Cornflakes was held. Kirk was held at State Farm Stadium in Clinsdale, Arizona. The service was attended by over 90,000 people. This is when we used to go to the assemblies in the old days. They call it assemblies. So the left, the patriots, are bringing out their horns. They're showing their horns. And if you saw it, and one of the phrases that stuck with me, was it a memorial, right? Someone who was doing the speaking. When you listen to the things that he said, once again, land backing up the elder Yeshua Bar. Watch that video. News and prophecy. The things that he said, he was breaking it down in detail. So over 90,000 people attended, right? And I've done a little bit of fact checking as far as the guy Stephen Miller, right? Some of the things he was saying. There's a guy which I picked. You put two and two together. There's a guy named Joseph Goldbells, right? And who was he, right? Because this is where he got a lot of his talking point from. Right? For those of us that may understand a little bit about the white supremacy. Paul Joseph Goldbell was a German Nazi politician and apologist who was the Gauleiter of Berlin chiefs. He was a propagandist, it says here. Chief propagandist for the Nazi party, and then reached Minister of the Propaganda from 1933 to 1945. Why did I read that? Right? He was talking a lot about it. He was talking about. So I tapped in. What was he known for? What was Joseph Goebbels' speech? Right? He's talking about the storm is coming. All about. Right? That was the buzzword. He was pushing. There's a lot of right. That was one of the main things he was speaking. But there was a lot of what you call code. And as our elders say, they've always been speaking in code. So that we're learning them, which we've always been doing it anyway, but we're going to have to start doing it even more, because why? As Apostle Tahar said, that's one of the things that they're going to be trying to do, get rid of free speech.
Famine of the word.
Famine of the word. It's going to go into the famine of the word. When you find it, let me know. Yeah. So he was known for this guy, right? A Nazi propaganda. Gabriel Allo. Say that big name. That's the name there.
Yeah, Goebbels.
Yeah, Goebbels.
Yeah, Goebbels.
Right.
Elaborated.
Right. That's it. All right. That's the point. Just that name, I couldn't pronounce that word. It was a tongue twister. So, Nazi propaganda asserted was the threat posed by so-called international. I'm going to use some code.
Jury.
Big.
Salak.
No, you say that's all right. That's all right. Yeah.
International.
Jury. The goal of
Bolshevism.
Don't use code there on that one. The small hat people world revolution. So.
Yeah.
Now, in this modern speech, Stephen Miller, he was using the Nazis' talking points, right? And I was able to cycle through, certain things that I picked up in my journey. So that's what they're coming with now, which is really what we're talking about. Jeremiah's chapters 30 and 7. There's the trouble. What you got to bring out? Yeah.
This is Amos 8 and 11. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai."
That's what we're going to hear a lot more about that, the famine of the word. So we're going to have to, as our elders been saying, instructing us to do more and more so. I mean, brothers sometimes they be going to their, going to their channels, and the whole channel be going missing. I've been hearing stuff like that, but eventually they get it back. Yeah. But it's just some brothers have said that that's happened to them, and they've protested, appealed, and they've got it back. Okay. So we're going to start to be dealing with more and more of that, but we're going to have to comply, right? So that's as we're going to go into. So let's get back to Psalms 140, and then after that let's go to Jeremiah 30 and 7 to back up the point.
So Psalms 140 again.
Go to verses 2. Yeah.
Psalms 140 and verse 2, which imagine mischiefs in their hearts, continually are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips.
Right, they're known as what? The serpent. And what the serpents possess? Venomous poison. And we saw a little glimpse of that in 2020. With the Lucy Juicy, and I done a video on that. The serpent, the image of the serpent, the pharmacy image. He actually is like a serpent wrapped around a sword. Which the sword represents what? It's like their sword is the needle. Yeah. It's a mini sword, which is
a tool of war.
Right. And they have the brothers who we pass through the hospitals and all that kind of NHS. When they be putting that in you, using some cold, that mini sword, it has detriment effects. Many people have complained up to this very day. People be dropping, with all kinds of spasming acts and blood clots and all of that. Once again, we have to be using cold. So that sword is real. And what was his gift? What was Esau's gift?
Yeah, the fatness of the earth.
Yep.
And of course, the dew of the heaven. Let me try again.
With and the sword. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. That's in Genesis 27. Yeah, let's touch a little bit on that.
Right, so this is Genesis 27 and verse 40. Actually, hold on, verse 39. It says, "And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck." So of course Esau had that blessing of the sword. Of course that sword doesn't just mean a literal sword, but the modern day sword is the gun. Of course the nuclear missiles as well, weapons of destruction. But also you have the more deeper swords, the more cunning swords, such as the Juice that was released back in 2020, 2021, 2022, when they were pushing people to take it. So that's another example of Esau having deep thoughts, man. As it says in Psalm 64 and verse 6. all of their hearts are deep.
Yeah.
Roughly paraphrase.
And we're going to go back to it anyway. Psalms 140, but read 41 of Genesis 27 as well.
This is Genesis 27 and verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
Yeah.
And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning.
So what did he say in his heart, man? Yeah, you see, this is the plan.
Says,
right? Yeah.
The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Right, and that goes all the way back to that perpetual hatred between the woman seed and I think you was gonna get it, was you not?
What, Genesis 3?
Genesis chapter 3 and 15 to back up what we're just looking at now. Yeah, this is what he's talking about. He said in his heart, it's like he made a vow, a promise.
Yeah. This is Genesis 3 and 15. That serpent again represents Esau. It says there, Genesis 3 and 15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head.
Enmity, look, just check that word enmity. We know, but in way of reminders as well, but the new ones as well.
It says there, the root word for enmity, says there, a bar, or obviously in the modern Hebrew, but the meaning, it says enmity, hatred. It also says here hostility. It also says hatred again.
So that's how they it's so easy for them to, hence why they're having these types of, this memorial, which was more of a mobilizing. 90,000 people attended the memorial. So it's really that the buzzword is out there. We're gonna go into these states, and it's going to be a testing ground for for the troops. It's a testing ground. And I was watching some of it on the news. Memphis state, where a woman was doing her just filming it on her phone. They showed helicopters just coming around, and she said the helicopter's landing, right? The military helicopter just landing, around YNs, and just grabbing up people, Northern tribe, and at first it was just the Northern tribe. Now it's Northern and Southern tribe, and just grabbing them up. What do you call them? Something guards.
What, the ASCA?
There's something guards.
National Guard.
National guards. They Trump has deployed 300 National Guards in New York, LA, Chicago. What's the other one?
Washington DC.
San Francisco. I believe it could be Washington DC.
So they got Southern tribe.
Yeah. Florida, they've got a lot of Southern tribe there. A lot of the and if it's not there, if they're not deployed yet, they soon will be. That's where they got a lot of the Reubenites, so-called Native American Indians. So another precept to back up that. Now read that one again. Are you still there? Genesis.
I'll get to it.
Yeah.
So this is Genesis 3 and verse 15. And I'll put enmity
that's it.
between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
Right. When you listen to the speech, Stephen, also someone else, Tucker Carlson, Stephen Miller. When you listen to you can tell it's like frustration and fear.
Yeah.
Because they've been listening to the prophets. Because everything he was saying is like almost like it's almost like they're trying to counter what the prophets have been saying.
Yeah.
Right. Saying that we built this country, where they know that they on the backs, where they know how on the back of so-called black people. That's how you built it. Yeah. And we didn't create anything. Where we was the inventors, all the original inventors. So that they're speaking out of fear, and that's exactly what's going on. They're trying to mobilize, and it's really out of fear. We've got another one. I'll read this one. Yeah. Genesis 32 and 11 says, "Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau." And who's he speaking? This is Jacob speaking. Yeah. Right? And this is how he well and truly felt, because he knew that his brother had you might say he had made a vow. Yeah. He knew, and this is what he's saying. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children, because that goes back into that enmity. That's the ancient hatred that they've got up to this very day. So we was at let's go back to Psalms 40, and as we're going through it, if you get any other precepts, we bring them out as well. So, once again, we're stressing what's taking place now as we speak. As we speak now, there's people getting grabbed up, right? Oh, not only over there in America, they're saying they want to code the crime, but over here as well. I was doing some fact checking on Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister over in the mother of Babylon, which gave birth to Babylon. He's talking about culling crime, with the knife crimes and what they're calling knife crimes, which is really crabs in a barrel. Why Jake be turning on himself? But that's another thing that's going to lead, which is already here, to Jacob's trouble and the digital ID, right? Because they're talking about the refugees. We can't. We want to tag them, bag them, to call people that be working, these jobs that you can't account for, illegal, all the kind of illegal activity. So that's what he's also pushing the same thing. This is worldwide. So let's carry on in verses 3 of Psalms 140.
So Psalms 140.
It's starting to get dark now, so we're going to bring out a couple of closing script precepts. We're going to be out here while it's all dark and all of that.
This is Psalms 114 verse 3. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. Salah. Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have purpose to overthrow my going.
I'm going to read that as well. I'm going to read that in the NLT. It says, their tongue stings like a snake. The venom of a viper drips from their lips. Right, see that? Their tongue stings like a snake. I've been stung, but I haven't been stung by a snake, but years ago by a bee. And it's the first reaction. And by the way, if you are allergic to getting stung by a bee, we're not pushing, being overly brave. Because there are certain people that have something called anaphylactic shock, and that's something. If you're allergic to being to a bee or bee sting, you can actually die. Yeah, mainly over in these so-called countries like Australia and these real where the things are much more raw and wild. You got the killer bees. So we're not pushing being overly brave, but there has been people, and man's going to the Lord anyway. If most are going to take you out, it's going to take you out via B, and that's also goes into Sirach 28, or it might be 29 and 28. Spirits crave for vengeance. We don't have to get it, but there is people that have been known to be died by bee sting, which is a judgment of the Lord. It's called anaphylactic shock. We don't got to do research on that for future videos. But so read that 3 again. Let me get my thought.
Psalms 140 and verse 3. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. Salah.
So you can die by a snake. You can die by any kind of venomous serpent, or mini dragons. You would call them reptilians and all of that.
Or Komodo dragons.
But the real thing to be aware of is over here in Babylon and the mother of Babylon, and particularly in these, what they call them, the NHS, some of these centres, where they do it and they're not giving you when you get stung. Hold on, but when you're going to get stung, they give you an anti-venom. When they give you something, they ain't giving you no anti-venom. They're telling you, be brave, and they dab it like that, they dab it with a cotton like that and send you on your way. And you don't know, and none the wiser, some of us have been through, the NHS system and all of that. You're none the wiser that you're probably going to get something down the road. Some of us, we have things, let me just say this too. Some of us, we be having certain illnesses later on in our lives. If we could trace it back, which is how I going to come back and it's going to bring double upon them. If we could trace it back, why we got this, certain, mannerisms, some brothers have their own little thing that they've got. You know what I'm saying? That you've got, and you think that you've inherited. You might have got it from the juices. Some of the from when they said, "Come here," the doctor come to the schools and say, "Everybody got to get this," and you didn't know none the wiser, and you pull up your sleeve and he give you a lollipop, and You did it.
Sticker.
And you don't know why you've got what you've got. Some brothers have got allergies. I'm just, physician hat is on that. Some brothers have allergies. Some brothers have allergic reaction to certain things, food allergies. They could have give you that. But anyway, let's get back to the point. So this is how serpent-like that they are. They can give you something and you're none the wiser until you check back, do some fact checking. But anyway.
That's why they call Esau the cunning hunter. Very crafty in his way of the sword.
But now that's why they want to shut down the awoke. Right? Because Jacob, we're becoming more wise now. And the scriptures tell us we have to be wise as serpents but harmless as doves. So that's what they're afraid of. As a matter of fact, there's a scripture to read that and the scripture might come to my mind. Yeah.
This is Psalms chapter 140 and verse 4. It says, "Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man. You have purpose to overthrow my goings. The proud have hid a snare for me. In the cause they have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me, Selah." So of course, that's referring to traps that are set for but really Esau's targeting the prophets, and they will be more pronounced, in the future. But of course, he is in the generalization, he's targeting Israel. So he's setting traps for Israel. One of those traps as well was the Jews back in 2021. Yeah, that's why it says in verse 4, going back again, it says, "Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have purpose to overthrow my goings." That's why it also says there in Psalms 2, about they join together in counsel against the anointed. So I'm going to get down quickly. In Psalms 2 and starting from verse 1, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?" As Esau generally thinks that his agenda was actually going to work out, and eventually he thinks that he's going to be like the Most High, as it says in Isaiah 14 and verse 14. But verse 2 it says, which is a vain thought, by the way, because his fall is inevitable, his kingdom will be destroyed. Verse 2, Psalms 2 verse 2, "The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together." That's talking about the presidents, the kings, such as President Trump that came to the UK recently and talked with
Prince Charles.
Yeah.
Well, he's
King Charles.
Yeah, the king now. He's the king now.
King Charles. And of course, they discussed their
while they was dining. Yep. Go on, slap it.
They discussed their things behind the scenes as well. So it says, "The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us." And in the NLT, in verse 3, it says, "Let us break their chains. They cry and free ourselves from slavery to the Most High." Because obviously Esau doesn't want to serve Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. He's the disobedient child. That's why do you think that he sold his birthright, man? That corruption was rooted from there. Well, it was rooted from there, but really, if you go back further, it goes back from the seed from Cain, the original sacrifice that was failed, and the Most High rejected that. And then obviously you got cursed with leprosy, and you know how the story goes from there to Esau.
Yep. He's out of the temple, man. He's a profane man.
I got a precept.
So he's trying to get that. What he lost. He's trying to get it back by any means necessary.
Yeah, that's why in Revelation 11 and verse 2, they're referring to Esau being a profane man. It says, "But the court which is without the temple, leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles." It says, "And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months." But the point is, where it mentions Gentiles there, that's actually referring to the other nations, the heathen nation. They ain't going to be allowed to enter into the temple. It's really in the kingdom. They won't be allowed to actually enter into the literal inner temple, because that'll only be for Israelites. So that's just there referring to Esau's profaneness. One more precept as well. Hold on. Search it up. Profane, let me even get the meaning of profane. This is Hebrews 12 and 16. lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. That's why, you know, his wickedness, really from there, these Edomites are really seen as foolish, because why would you sell out your birthright just for a piece of meat? That's essentially what's being said here. And even the root word of profane here, it says here, let me get the profane root word. Right, so profane, it says here, bebelos, which means accessible, lawful to be trodden. It says a profane, unhallowed, common, public place. So the key word, it says unhallowed. You know when something is hallowed, it refers to something that's holy. It's unhallowed, it's unholy. So that's Esau right there, which means really he's unclean, and the way his ways of living are against Yahweh Shimi Ashai. That's just the simple way I can put it. Okay, have you found
look for the one accuser of our brethren. I know that's in Revelation. While you're looking for that, I'm going to read Revelation chapters 12 and 12 says, "Wherefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." Right, man, and he's vexed. Right, once again goes back into that draconian, dragon-like. He appears as a lamb, but he speaks as a dragon. That's that true ancient spirit coming out of him. Right, and it says there, when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman. Who's the woman? Right, we're known as the woman, Israel. Right, we're known as the woman, which we're the seed of the woman. And we have been prepared, ordained as the monument, right? That is pure. And what does this devil want to do? This profane man wants to have his wicked, dirty way with us, and it goes into that when you read 17. Right, I'll read that. Then you read that one after. Yeah, I'll read this one. Revelation, jumping down to 17 of Revelation 12 says, "And the dragon was wroth with the woman." Right, that's the Yahshua Allah, so-called black people. And when we talk about the black people, we're talking about the elect of the black people. But he doesn't look at all of that. He just wants. That's why you're hearing about the YNs. They're bringing the drugs. They're bringing the crime. His really main target is to really shut down this as a matter of fact, that scripture is going to bring out what I'm going to say. I'm going to let that one come out, but I'm just going to finish reading this. It says, "And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keepeth the commandments of God." Right, here you have it here. "And have the testimony of Yahushua and Mashiach." Right, we're exposing them. And that's why they're so rough with us. And that's the main target, as I say. That's why they want to. We hear about gradualism, and once again, Ron DeSantis, the first I started to hear about, they wanted to shut down and cull they want to cull the woke people, was when he started to, when he was campaigning for the Florida governor. And then, since then, they've always been on their thing, as we know. They've always been on their thing. Now we're just woken up to it. Right? As from the time that he lost his birthright. He said, he promised in his heart, he said, I'm going to slay you. And that's what we're seeing right now. That's just why we call it Jacob's trouble. But it's just them being vengeful and resentful and wrathful, trying to get their birthright back.
So this is Revelation 12 and verse 10. "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his anointed, for the accuser of our brethren."
And we know what that is, when you accuse someone of doing something. As a matter of fact, just look up the word. And we could end on this, because it's kind of getting dark. Lord willing, we're going to continue with it next time we link up. So this is what they're so angry about. Hence why we're hearing about, what they was talking about, Tucker Carlson, Trump, a lot of their far right speeches or Nazi speeches. Stephen Miller. This is what they're so afraid of. And you can hear the fear in their voices. And also Pete Hegseth, the former Minister of Defence. right? And this is why they, you know, they talk about memorializing. I like the idea what it was Tariq Nasheed said. It was Tariq Nasheed that said it. Is it a memorial or is it a mobilizing? Right, because that's when you hear about the word mobilizing. Right, anyway.
So this is the root word for accuser, or to accuse. It says categorio, which means to accuse before a judge, to make an accusation of an extrajudicial accusation. It says to charge with some offense. Accuse says object.
Right. Another word could be when you tell a lie on someone. That's that word when you is an accuser telling a lie on someone. Not blasphemy. But anyway, that's the
false
point.
Witness.
Yeah, false witness. But there's another word, slandering.
Oh,
right. And what is the devil known for? Satan. Satan's deceiver and what? And a slanderer. Right. The word Satan just means deceiver. And he's a slanderer. So really, that's really the point. Is we could have brought out a lot more scriptures. We could have brought out a whole heap of articles on other subjects and similar points, but on other subjects. Because one more thing we just want to make a point on this too. I came across the article of this article here. We didn't really get into it, but Lord willing, next time the article there.
Oh, Constable Naga Pastor calls executing probably put.
A so-called pastor, right? He's talking about. He says a pastor calls for executing rebellious black youths, right? Cutting, deleting by stoning, deleting by stoning in Old Testament. So you know what I've realized when I was meditating on what they know is gonna. Their future is they're gonna have to suffer the consequences of the Old Testament in the kingdom. When we get them in the kingdom via the laws. So what they're doing, in actual fact, what they're trying to do is they're what they call it, projecting. All even in the speech I was listening to, I'm saying everything that they're saying is they're projecting and they're trying to elude and deflect of all the things that they're guilty of. Talking about accuser, all the things that they're guilty of, they're trying to deflect it and project it on us, on Jake. Primarily, they want to try and escape their judgment, their future, their slavery. So, and we're not surprised because the devil is just the devil. The devil showing his horns, as the title of this video is. The devil just showing his horns, man. So, what do? Continue to keep fighting. Continue to stay humble. Stay in your lot. They're mobilizing, we see it, and that also when we see the prophecies coming to pass, even though it's Jacob's trouble, things have to get worse before they get better. We know things are going to get better, but before they get better, we're going to have to go through, and ultimately we're waiting on our Savior. Right? They got their devil, their Savior, right? Nero, right? And their ministers of defense. They talk with all the fighting talk that they're doing, which is building the propaganda to the WW3. They're building up to their WW3 or their new NWO, New World. I don't want to say the word, I'm speaking cold as well. So they're building up to their NWO or WW3. They're mobilizing, but Yahushua he be mobilizing. From the time that they what they did to him on the cross, right? The angels be mobilizing. That's another thing too. We've got so many things we could go into, but we're gonna close it out. So many things that we could talk on. Lord willing, when we link up next time, bring out some more of this of the prophecies. So, if you've got any comments, last comments, and then you can close out after that.
Yeah, that's really the point. I'll just read Revelation 12 and 10 again. It says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night." And so it's a constant affliction now, these false accusations and things which Esau's going to direct towards us. Right. At the end of the day, as I said there,
and No, finish your point, and then I'm going to say, and
As
then
it said
yeah,
there, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
That's
so
it.
his fall is inevitable.
There you go.
And we know that in faith through the power of Yahweh Shimi Al-Shai, he's done for.
Yep.
To close out,
And he's on his way down now, and that's why he's trying to do all this reflecting and counteracting, because he knows as you say, he knows he's being cast down now. Yep. He's the one that's guilty. All fingers be pointing at him, and he knows he can't escape it. But yeah, man.
Yeah. So as always, just gonna close out. Kar Halayim La, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachah Kodash. Double honors to the greatness from the apostles and the elder bishops. The Aratazai found it edifying and exhorting. Shalom.